It's the final night in Hillsboro, and the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is bringing you action from the Super Farm tractors and hot rod semi-trucks. In a massive competitive field for the Super Farms, it looks like the Bennies have cranked it up and find their team in two of the top four spots in the points, with Dan leading the way in first. With 6 rounds left and former champ Michael Snepp pushing for the lead himself, there are crucial points up for grabs. Don't go anywhere. The action starts now. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. This is the Super Clean Hillsboro Charity Tractor Pull presented by General Tire. Ken Stout and Leslie Mears here to call the action for you, and we will kick things off here with our Super Farm Tractor category. It is large and very, very competitive. Stop number 9 on the tour of 14, so we are getting down to it.
And it's always a fan favorite due to the diversity in the field. It's one of the only tractor classes across the Pro Pulling League where you will see green and red matched evenly in competition.
To kick off the category will be Johnny Dock on the Poltergeist. The RPMs get pulled down. Finally, it breaks the tires loose on the back of it. He puts 393 on the board, 300.93. Right there on the edge. Do you drop it? Do you keep it? What do you do there?
Man, it's one of those things with the sun still out in a field this large with so many competitors behind him, he might think about dropping that hook even though he's past that traditional full pull line, just for the fact that a little bit more moisture might come up through the track. You can make some quick changes, because with 23 in the field, he's going to need every hundredths of a foot he can get to put himself out there the best he can.
I like it. A little bit of strategy based on time of day. Pretty good stuff there. By the way, our points leader down in the middle of the pulling order here this afternoon, going into this evening. Mac Darnell up here next, dime a dozen, a little bit deeper down in the points here. He's currently 10th in the points. I mean, certainly not a bad effort here in 2017. Goes 3:12 and 23, can turn it all around here. Has been on the podium this season.
And just a good-looking hook for him right off the bat. Watch the front end come up in the air. Carries it nicely there for quite a long distance, and then it's dangling up and down there a little bit at the end, and then finally carries it a little bit farther out there. And that's how you're getting that perfect weight placement into those rear tires to make sure that those 24.5s hook up hard into the track.
And here's a look at the points. 17 people chasing points, but when you come up here to Hillsboro, you also get a number of regional competitors that are just as good.
Well, that's the thing. Wisconsin is super farm country, and they are dime a dozen up here. You will find them everywhere, and they are tough. It's just that these guys maybe farm a few thousand acres and don't have the ability to really get away from home like our other competitors do. And so when they come here, they show up, and they definitely show out.
Mitch Berg, one of those competitors on the disorderly deer that is not chasing national points. Good-looking tractor here, and of course, our fair share of red and green tractors in this category as well. Boy, it just smoothly picked up the nose, carried it right there. Really good-looking hook, but only puts 306 and 33 on the board. I say that because I feel like there'll be plenty more out over 310 before this one's said and done, but a good-looking hook.
And a little jumpy off the starting line there as they dump the clutch. But you can see he's already trying to turn it away from that right sideline. Normally on this left-hand track here at Hillsboro, you get pulled off to the left. And here he found himself going to the right, gave it a little tippy-tack of the brake, had the wheel turned to the left side, trying to make sure he could keep it in a straight line.
Next up will be the Red Scorpion. This one driven by Jared Jones and getting his feet wet here in 2017.
Yeah, his first year driving for Team Darnell.
And unfortunately, Jared's going to lay up a little bit short here at 298 and 90. It looks like his feet were pretty busy.
Yeah, right off the bat, you could see he's operating both the left and right brakes with his right foot. And so he's tapping that right away, right when he gets to the 50-foot mark. And of course, that's going to detract from your distance, especially when you brake it that early.
And Chuck Gunterberg coming up here next. The tractor is called Positive Ground. Clean-looking International. He's a little bit deeper in the points, down in 12th. Finished inside of the top 10 1 year ago. Starting to hop there a little bit, about 3/4 of the way through. That is disaster for sure, 305.02. And you've got to think, if he had that weight placement right or whatever caused it to hop was not there, he could have been a lot further out. So we are off and running here with the Super Farm category. Mac Darnell at 3:12 and 23 is who they're chasing. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by General Tire. Anywhere is possible. By K&N Filters. Superior airflow. Superior performance. And by E3 Spark Plugs. Born to burn.
Having a great time out here at the Super Clean Hillsboro Charity Tractor Pull presented by General Tire. Welcome to Hillsboro Fireman's Park in Hillsboro, Wisconsin. Ken Stout and Leslie Mears calling the action for you here with the Super Farm Tractors, and we are up and running for sure. Current leader, Mac Darnell at 3:12 and 23. Here comes Nick Score, finished second of the points a year ago with 6 podiums, including a couple of wins. And here at Hillsboro, unfortunately missed the mark, so trying to put it together here today. He's been on the podium a couple of times this year, and he's looking to do it one more time. We have a brand new leader by about 9 inches. 3:12 and 94 is the mark.
Man, and this team really needs this lift. You know, they started off great at Julia, North Carolina with a 3rd place finish, and then they really lagged behind and had some struggles throughout the season. And you can see he doesn't get off to the start that he wants, drifting over to the right, using the brake to bring it back to the center. And then Rossville, they started to pick up some more steam with a 3rd. 1 hook ago here at Hillsboro, a 7th. And so really getting that screaming Norwegian back to championship form on the track.
Coming up next, part of the championship leading team. This is not the championship leading tractor. Crank It Up. This one's called All Cranked Up. And doing the driving is Jason Vinny. The All Cranked Up tractor currently 4th in the points. He was on the podium 1 round to go, finished up in 3rd place. We'll see if he can do it again, but right now, he is currently your leader, 3:13 and 37.
And man, it looked like he shook his head with disappointment at the end of that run, but nothing to be disappointed about here. Off to a little bit of a slow start, but then picks it up. And man, look how that sled sachets behind him and whips around. That just goes to show what power he was putting into the track, what a great setup he had out there. And if he would have been able to keep it straight, he really could have legged it out.
Yeah, that's why he was shaking his head for sure. He knew because of all that side movement, he lost a lot of forward motion as Brian Barman comes up here. Guarantee you Jason Vinny's thinking there's a lot left inside of that track. This one's called Hooked Up. Another guy not chasing national points, but this is exactly what we're talking about. When you come up here to Hillsboro, you are walking into Super Farm territory for sure. And right now, he is our brand new leader, 3:15 and 66.
Man, that awesome, clean 14.66, lifting that front end right off the line. And this is what I'm talking about. Remember I said the track would probably come around with a few hooks. The sun's starting to go down a little bit. We're seeing a few more shadows on the track from that, and the moisture is going to start to come up. And this could be dangerous because it could get a little out of hand out there if they build that road right in the center of the track.
Coming up next will be the driver of the Hurricane Deer. That is Dan Hensley. He missed the first couple of hooks of the season, but earlier today, Leslie had a chance to spend some time with him.
Dan Hensley piloting the Hurricane Deer this year with a brand new setup. Now, you guys have been running in Super Farm for a really long time, so what made you decide to make some changes here?
Well, it's just been to keep up with what everybody else is doing and do a good job. I try to do some things to make the tractor hook better and try to make the engine a little bit easier to service and keep going during the year. So we narrowed it up a little bit, changed the way the tires was and the way the weight transfer is going down the track, and it seems to be helping. But we've been trying to work to get the balance just right because it changes the balance on the tractor, and we're trying to get it to even out. We're getting there. We're just working on it.
Yeah, these guys are always working, trying to develop something, so we'll see if it can pay off for him. He just missed the podium a couple of hooks ago, so it's great to see him making some advances forward. And that little bit of motion to the right had to bring it back to the left, no doubt hurt him. But at 3:12 and 52, he's going to put himself inside the top 5.
Yeah, you can definitely see that center patch is strong, and these tires are digging in hard, and they're able to put all that horsepower to the ground as Brian Barman still leads the group here as you take a look at our top 3.
And we welcome you back to the Super Clean Hillsboro Charity Tractor Pull presented by General Tire. Just an absolute gorgeous area of the country, and of course, as you might imagine, loaded with their fair share of farmers. They have come out to watch the best in truck and tractor pulling go at it up here. Up next will be Maximum Overdrive, driven by Clay Darnell. Maximum Overdrive tractor always out here on the tour. Currently 13th in the points. Needs a good showing. One year ago, day 2 here at Hillsboro was a big day for him as he stood on top of the podium, and he just might do it again because we have a brand new leader here at 3:16 and 30.
He gets a great hole shot here, and that's what helps him out so much on his run. Check out this wheel stand that he gets about 50 feet out, just planting those tires. Man, I love to see them squat and dig into the dirt. And then it kind of struggles to pick up that front end and carry it the rest of the way out there. But can you make a great point in him needing a good showing here at Hillsboro? Kind of lift him up about halfway through the season, as his best finish so far was 9th as he takes over the lead about halfway through the class.
Yeah, he had one podium last year throughout the entire season, and it was here when he won the event. So he shows up and does a good job again. Obviously, he's found the combination up here at Hillsboro. And Josh Miley on the high maintenance tractor comes out here and he puts a big number up on the board. 3:15 and 12. That is good enough to jump into the top three. He's currently 5th in the points coming in here, so another good effort. And keep in mind, he's the defending winner from 1 round ago right here at Hillsboro.
It looks like, though, the track got a little choppy, got into some hops during the last 100 feet. So that's something to look for that our competitors will be watching to make sure that they do not run in those tracks. Here we've got Peter Norton hitting the track in the Slama Enterprise machine. He's the hired gun for them this season.
Well, and these guys are starting to put together some efforts right here, man. That is just a gorgeous looking tractor. I love just the stock look of it. But 3:14 and 22, good enough to jump up into 4th place.
And we're seeing so many of our competitors within the same 2 to 3 feet of each other, and it goes to show what a great track crew that we have here at Hillsboro, that they're maintaining the entirety of the track, that it's even across that center swath out there, and that everybody's getting a fair shake at it. They're doing a great job putting the starting line back together so everybody gets a good hole shot, because you can see how hard these guys are dropping the clutches out here, and they'll leave big divots.
Michael Baker coming out here, another tractor that's not chasing national points, the John Deere called Fat Bottom Girl, and you just got to love the creative names that they come out here with on these tractors. Boy, and it just tugs that thing down until it finally snubs the motor. That is talking about getting hooked up. But the distance there is not going to be what he was hoping for at 2:89 and 15.
He knew right off the starting line when it started to hop a little bit that he was in trouble. And at the end, you saw him call for a tow tractor, so he knows that there's some mechanical damage in there.
Up next, Pat Hack on the Viagra King. Boy, in that case, just digging hard right to the very end and nearly steals a lead. 3:16 and 18, misses taking that lead away from Clay Darnell by 1.5 inches.
Just a great job driving off the line to get a good hole shot here. Nice and smooth and even. See him trying to fight it with those front drive tires before finally giving it a little bit of right brake and just letting it float out there at the finish to burn it in and gain some more ground.
Yeah, really solid effort there. And as you can see, things at the top of the pack are getting pretty doggone tight. Exactly what we expect here from the Super Farm category. We'll be right back. Track maintenance going on here at the Super Clean Hillsboro Charity Tractor Pull presented by General Tire for our Super Farm category. Michael Snepp coming up here next, driving the tractor called the Perfect Storm. He's been on top of the podium 2 times this year, and we're going to take you back and show you one.
Just one hook before Goshen. He had his worst finish of the season at that time with an 11th at Platte City, and then powers back on a tricky track at Goshen to pick up the 2nd win of the season. But just one hook ago here at Hillsboro, finished 20th. I mean, very uncharacteristic for him and definitely not helping him out in this points hunt.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, up until 1 round ago here at Hillsboro, he had 3 consecutive podiums, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Was really on a roll for sure, but stumbled 1 round to go. Front end hanging there nicely, though, today. It is not going to yield dividends, though. 305 and 85, so Michael Snepp misses it here, and he needed a big hook today to try and close up that points gap on Dan Vinny.
And he knows with his track position for the sled out there that he hit those same hops that we saw from the high maintenance machine, and that's what really hurt him on the top end.
Well, speaking of our points leader, Dan Vinny, here's a look at him on the tractor called Crank It Up. Currently 4 podiums so far this season, including a couple of wins. Finished second here, just 1 round to go. Boy, and it was just easy to see the difference in ground speed that he's had over everybody else. And yes, that is a brand new leader. 3:16 and 94. An incredible effort here out of our points leader.
Yeah, we saw a good effort out of Jason at his hook point. He's going to put about 3.5 feet on that effort with the same type of hook where he starts out heading to the right side of the track, brings it back, it hooks hard to the left, and he just dances all over the dirt just like the All Cranked Up did, but a little bit more tune-up on it here and legs it out a little bit farther.
Here comes the running buck wild Andy Schwenk doing the driving. Finished 4th in the points 1 year ago. 5 podiums on the season. I mean, it's a tough player for sure. Currently 6th in the points. And no, your eyes are not deceiving you. Yes, he had that huge ground speed as well. And again, we have a brand new leader. Man, these guys are digging hard. 3:17 and 15.
And it's just awesome to see that this can happen right in the middle of the class, and it just lifts ever so slowly that front end. And he gets into a few bounces out there, but just drives right through it like a pro, legs it out to the end, and he's taking a peek at those divots to see if he was able to take the lead. That's the thing, is that, you know, those guys don't always hear the distance right away to know that they've taken a lead, so they could drive off and think that they haven't.
Up next will be the Pale Rider, driven by Steve Creedeman. Choosing the right side of the track, and it kind of wandered off to the right just a little bit as well. Don't think he had to get into the brakes, but 289 and 92 is missing the mark here today.
Yeah, but kudos to him for trying something a little bit different where no one had ran all night long to try to see if he could find a new path.
Don Slama, the promoter of this event, is coming up next. But before we show you his hook, he also does something else that's very unique to this hook. You come out here during the 2 days, you have a chance to win one of these beautiful belt buckles.
And so special here, you know, it's the person who pulls the farthest combined over the 2 days. And these belt buckles are designed and manufactured by the same people who make the belt buckles for the National Finals Rodeo. And that's where Don Slama got the idea for this. But what makes them so special is that there is a placard with a name on those belt buckles. And it is in remembrance of somebody who has lost their life in their hard battle with a disease or cancer out there that has been helped by the Hillsboro charity pull itself. So that adds just a special touch to them.
Well, here is Don Slama. He's a special guy for sure, and he got the monkey off his back here 1 year ago as he won on day 1 here at Hillsboro, his own pull. And he's going to come out here and try to do that again. Wow, look at this number, 319 and 75.
Just phenomenal. And I don't know where he found the concentration to be focused on this class with so much going on with this pull. I mean, we're talking about 4 sessions over 2 days, and they start planning for the Hillsboro charity pull the minute that it's in the books on Saturday night the year before. And so it's a constant effort. Very busy man helping out in the community with his own multiple businesses out here, and to concentrate on the track here and to be able to take the lead at a critical point like this in the class is just phenomenal.
And, of course, Don Slama, also the reigning champion inside of this category. Not having that great season here this year as he's 7th in the points coming into this hook. But he is still the reigning champ until it's all said and done. The Twisted Deer coming up here next. And Casey Fritz will burn in at 311 and 90.
Yeah, and he was tough just 1 hook ago here. Finished inside the top 10 with his machine.
Well,
take a quick break here, and we'll come back with more action courtesy of our Super Farm category at Hillsboro, Wisconsin.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. By Rhino Ag, born to lead. And by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source.
And we're back here at the Super Clean Hillsboro Charity Tractor Pull presented by General Tire, and fans being treated to a great show here courtesy of the Super Farm category. Just seems like one after the next goes a little bit further, and boy, they have really done some digging here today. Here comes Mac Darnell on the tractor called Pocket Change. Doesn't typically drive this tractor, although this tractor did win the season opening hook. Leslie spoke to him.
Well, the Darnell camp ran 3 tractors on the circuit last year, but this weekend have picked up an additional tractor. Well, Mac, how did you come to be the pilot of the Pocket Change this weekend?
Well, the owner of the tractor, Jerry Barris, he had his county fair going on, and he had to stay around there for some duties that he needed to do, and he asked us if we could run his other tractor for him this weekend.
So how much work and time and effort does it take just to get everything staged and ready for the event?
It's time consuming. We have to, of course, check the air pressure, fill up with water and fuel, make sure everything's right on the tractors, and then just, getting them cleaned up and getting ready to get staged.
Is it almost too much to handle to keep track of all the data and the numbers from each vehicle as you progress through the night?
It's pretty hard, but we've got some good team members with us, and they kind of take up the slack and help us with it, and it'll be more interesting probably next year when we get the 241s out.
Currently 8th in the points is this tractor. Wow, and another big number here, 317.05. That's good enough for 3rd place, but that front end came way up in the air, Leslie, and you've got to think it unloaded the rear tires there a little bit. That one was loaded up for bear.
Yeah, almost put it up on the wheelie bars. Now listen, Mac does the work on these tractors for Jerry and company, so he knows the tractor in and out, and he's been able to watch the track conditions, see 3 tractors of his own hook out here prior to, and knew the big thing is you've got to get that front end up in the air. Kudos to him for a great job driving a tractor he doesn't normally pilot.
Yeah, currently jumps into 3rd place, missed 2nd by about an inch or so. I mean, really, really close up there in the top 3 for sure. All right, the hay shaker coming up here next. We're getting down to our final 2 machines. Jerome Hassenbean coming up. And you can see when that Optima Batteries weight box transferred up to the front of the sled and just slammed him with all that weight. It finally tugged it down, 290 and 73.
Yeah, definitely could hear that change in RPMs.
And our final hook of the category will be Brett Weber on the tractor called Never Say Never. And the Farmall will end up with a solid number here at 312 and 59, but not good enough to jump up into the top 5 here tonight. Tough hook for sure. In this category, it's always so much fun to watch. The competition is brutal. Let's go down to the podium where Leslie is with Mac Darnell, who finished in 3rd.
It's important to come in with a game plan. And Mac, you said you pretty much had a game plan coming in with that tractor and knew what you were going to do based on yesterday's results.
That's right. We had a good run yesterday, wound up 4th last night. Basically moved a little bit of weight because we was a little light on the nose, and other than that, we ran the same exact setup we had last night.
And you are going to get the Higher Gun of the Year award putting this tractor on the podium here tonight.
Well, I appreciate that. I've got to give many thanks to Jerry Barris for letting us bring it up here and drive it while he's back home working. So, but I tell you, these guys behind me, they're the ones that put everything together. I just have the joy of driving it down the track.
And we take a look at the final results here. Don Slama, as you can see, way out front. What a great effort out of him. Andy Schwenk, McDarnell. Dan Benny there inside of the top 5 doing what he needs to do to keep that points championship hunt alive. Let's go back down to the podium and talk to the man who just edged him out for 2nd place.
For Andy Schwenk, it may not be about being on the podium tonight. It's all about being able to drive it in the trailer by itself tonight because you've had some major mechanical damage. Talk a little bit about some of those things you've had to overcome to get here tonight.
Last week at Rossville, we made it 239 feet and tore gear out of the transmission, so that put us in last place. And Evansville, Indiana, we had a little clutch trouble, but still fared all right, I guess. So.
And the tractor's been running really strong, and so making nice, solid passes like the one you had tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd have done different tonight, other than go 2 foot further. So, but yeah, we've been doing good. I guess we're making horsepower, so we tear stuff up.
And so it goes sometimes. Here's a look at the points. Dan Vinny doing his job here. Michael Snepp, the perfect storm there. A 36-point gap over him. Ryan Anderson, Jason Vinny, and Josh Miley round out your top 5. Let's go back down and talk to the man who just won it all here. He's also the promoter, Mr. Don Slama.
Right, for Don Slama, the last thing on your mind is usually pulling the tractor. I'm not sure how you composed yourself and got it together. What was on your mind as you were kind of preparing for your hook tonight?
Well, I was just wanting to get down the track and go take care of business elsewhere, so that's why we went pretty fast and got it over with quick.
Do you think that mentality might help you at other pulls around the country if you're just like, okay, I got other stuff to do, I'm just going to go point A to point B and get on with it?
Well, the problem there is, Leslie, that I got too damn far to drive home, so I can't get back to work in time. So, no, for 15 minutes or so, you got to psych yourself into pulling mode, and then you got to go back to promoting mode.
And it's exciting, too. It's a wonderful facility. Everybody that's been up here on the podium tonight has talked about how great it is. How satisfying is it for you to stand here in the winner's circle for a 2nd year in a row with your family and take this win?
Well, it took me... last time I won here before last year, it was 1970. So that's a long time ago. And to do it back to back, there's nothing better. We got the stands full tonight. I got my family here. I got Bob Clary with me, one of my guys that do all the wrenching on the tractor. I mean, it's a beautiful night. I'm looking at you. What more could I ask for?
46 years, but then he puts together back-to-back wins and consecutive years, so congrats to Don Slama. Well, we are far from done. The Hot Rod Semis are warming up. They're next. The Super Clean Hillsboro Charity Tractor Pull presented by General Tire is where we're at. Here at Hillsboro Fireman's Park in Hillsboro, Wisconsin, the fans having a great time. The sun has set here on a beautiful evening. The large Super Farm tractor category is complete, and now we move into the Mack Trailer Hot Rod Semis, and we'll kick things off here with Ryan DeBrew, and Leslie spoke with him earlier.
You got to love all the unusual names that you find in pulling, but more importantly, there's usually a meaning behind that name. And Ryan, talk a little bit about the significance behind the name Playing with Fire on your truck.
The truck's called Playing with Fire. Myself and 3 of the guys that work on it are all volunteer firemen. And this is an electronic truck, and a lot of its life it's spent shooting fire out of the stacks. So the meaning just fit in well for everything.
It's really awesome how cool it ties in together. But being an electronic truck, you're way different than everybody else. So how does that kind of set you apart?
Well, it sounds different. Our timing is delivered electronically. It makes a lot of belches and pops, and sometimes there's balls of fire that come out of the stacks. we're limited on certain things as far as what's available for electronic technology, and you have to live within those things and try to beat them.
So a different set of rules as technology works its way into the category. What a great looking Kenworth. And as you could hear there, man, it just was not happy as it was sputtering nearly all the way down the track. 281 at 56 a number there, and a huge flame out of that stack as well. So he had it wicked up about as far as he could go.
I don't know about you, but that kind of makes me queasy to see all that fire coming out of the stack, because I know it's living in that engine block as well, trying to create that horsepower. A pretty even run for him, though. It wasn't overcome with any hops or anything like that. And so for him, really, you know, he told me kind of off camera there that it's about getting more seat time and putting in laps on the track and just, you know, making those passes and gathering that data so they can fine-tune the machine.
Here's a look at our pulling order for the hot rod semis. We just saw Ryan. Up next will be the Magnum Force. And then, of course, the Crazy Kenworth. A number of trucks here, again, not necessarily chasing national points, but our points competitors also battling as well.
Yeah, 5 hooks in so far on the season, and so it's really, really young for them, as well as they'll hit their home stretch with many back-to-back weekends coming up here shortly.
Yeah, 5 of 14, so you're exactly right. I mean, they're only a third of the way through this season. Here comes one of the Bulldogs on the tour, Magnum Force. Well, and I don't know if Dale Francis was working the throttle like that intentionally, if something just broke, whatever it was, unfortunately did not pay off. The distance here, 249 and 80.
And these guys definitely making some changes, knowing coming in here that Hillsboro is a bit of a power track. As we take a look at the points here, coming in here, Dick Bonner with the narrowest of leads in the category over his teammate Dale Francis, and of course Philip Price and Magnum Force running out there with him as well, just 7 places behind. So really very, very tight. But of course, as we mentioned earlier, still awfully early in the season to really be counting those points.
And yes, that was Dale Francis driving the Magnum Force. We will also see him again in just a little bit, as you talked about there, on the Maximus Prime 2 truck. Doing so well in the points. A seasoned driver for sure. Here comes another Kenworth, this one called the Crazy Kenworth. Oh, and it finally started to chirp that thing down as it lost boost, eventually pulled it down below the turbo. 263 and 65 is the distance for Chris Mills now.
Many of you are probably thinking, you know, I'm not seeing that left front tire really get up in the air as much as we normally do. And, you know, I talked about changes with the power track here at Hillsboro, and so they're going to make some adjustments to their limiting chains out there, so you're not going to see that tire come up as far, and you're not going to see all the frame flex that we normally see and all the twisting, because they're trying to compensate for that.
And the truck called Stacked, you can see him burning that thing in the back. I mean, all 8 tires digging hard, so we have a brand new leader at 297 and 71 for Sonny Grace.
Always so cool to see them leave the line and to watch those rear DOT tires. Of course, DOT tires all the way around on these bad boys really squat and wrinkle up and sink in. And just so cool, all the technology that goes into the airbags. And of course, we talked about the frame flex and, you know, trying to, you know, counteract that with the different pressure in the airbags to get everything to hook up into the ground so hard.
Well, next up will be William Miller, and he's driving the Bad Addiction truck. Typically not the man behind the wheel inside of this one, as it's W.T. Miller as the rule, and Leslie spoke to him.
Well, I came over here to find W.T. Miller, but William here and said, I'm a little confused as to what's going on. Please clarify.
My truck burned a piston and bent 3 valves, and found out we wasn't going to run, and Dad offered me and said, sure, his is more exciting.
Well, now, what makes this truck more exciting than yours?
It's got a little more power and just some more switches you got to flip, and makes more things interesting.
So what happens tonight if you drive it better than he does? Is he going to be kicked out of the seat since you've got its number dialed in?
No, he'll take it back.
Let's just call it the way it is. Boy, and he does yank up that left front tire. In fact, the right front tire a couple of times coming off the ground. Incredible to think that they can plant those tires that hard. But whatever the case it is, he is a brand new leader, 306 and 40, and that's a big number.
I just find it comical thinking that he didn't let up on this truck at all. You know, driving it just as hard as he can out there, just throwing ribbons of dirt out of the side as he's trying to steer it back into that straight line. Even after he did all the damage to his truck, he's not afraid to tear this one up too.
Forget the words drive it like it's a rental car. Drive it like it's your dad's truck. Maybe you don't have to work on it. So nonetheless, William Miller doing a great job as he takes over the lead at 306 and 40. And we still have a couple of very tough trucks to go. Stay with us.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by Sawblade.com. No middleman, no markup, no problem. By Polaris. Fuel your freedom. And by Lucas Oil. Made in America, sold to the world.
A good ground shot here at the Super Clean Hillsboro Charity Tractor Pull presented by General Tire. Camera crew doing an excellent job, giving us some great pictures here tonight. Beautiful evening for truck and tractor pulling. And the fans being treated to a great show courtesy of our hot rod semi class. Another Bulldog coming up here. And this one's on a short leash. At least it's called short leash, driven by Miles Finn. You can hear that thing spool up, man. Those turbos whistling hard. Unfortunately, he will only put 237 and 63 up on the board.
Very interesting to see him come out here and hook with us, especially since he's not sitting in the traditional driver's seat. That's where most guys will put themselves in their pullers. They won't go through all the mechanical changes to put themselves in the middle.
Well, we took a look at the points earlier. You were talking about Dick Bonner leading and the points the last 4 hooks. He has been on the podium. In fact, has only missed the podium by 1 spot all season long. And guess what? He is absolutely guaranteed a podium finish here tonight. He just took over the lead. Only 1 truck yet to go. 308.07.
And what a tough team Dale Francis and Dick Bonner make out here. And you can see they've got these things just screaming and squatting. Also a different position on the track, going down that left sideline, finding some good ground as he's stretching it out there. And you can see just loaded up on fuel, a little bang there and a little burn off at the end.
And it looked like that thing came back to the right just a little bit, so he might have lost just a little bit of distance. No matter what, he's going to finish at least second. But here comes Dale Francis. We saw him a little bit earlier in the night as well, driving the Magnum Force truck. So we'll see if he's able to learn anything and apply it here to this Mac called Maximus Prime 2. And he chugs that thing right to the very end and just surpasses Dick Bonner to take the win here tonight by less than 6 inches.
Just amazing. I mean, just put it almost in the exact same tracks that he ran down. But check this out, points it a little bit to the right, so takes a big arching curve in there. What if he could have kept it straight out there? He could have legged it out a little farther, but it doesn't matter. He exceeds that distance by almost 6 inches to take the win as the final hook of the night.
So we'll send Leslie down there to the podium and talk to our winners here tonight. Congratulations on a great show. And we'll kick it off with Dick Bonner.
It was a good run tonight for Dick Bonner, but Dick, you told me you're not as excited about your finish tonight as you are about your overall finish for the weekend.
Yeah, I wanted the buckle, and I got it, so I'm pretty happy about that. Kind of a memorabilia of being here, you know. Great pool here. Don does a great job.
It's exciting for that, and I know last night was kind of like a no-holds-barred effort, but Dale kind of snuck around you at that last minute there.
Tonight, yeah, he did, but that's all right. It's a team win, team thing, 1 and 2 or 2 and 1. We don't care. As long as we go home with the wins, that's all.
And we take a look at the final results here. From Hillsboro, Dale Francis with that last hook of the night up top, just edging out teammate Richard Bonner. And then, of course, congratulations as well to William Miller and the Bad Addiction truck.
You know, Dale, your team is on such a rollout here, and, you know, with 2 trucks that are running so hard, you know, what are some of the little things that can make a difference that can give you the edge to win the pull on a night like tonight?
Just making sure the preparation's right and keeping things fresh as you can all the time and driving it hard. That's the way you got to do it.
Well, I know you guys don't have any problem driving it hard out there either, you know, and you guys have specific driving styles. So what are some of the little things that you can do as a driver that might lend you to that victory?
To pick the right spot on the track and make sure you leave the line to the right RPM and use the clutch right. Dick left a little bit early tonight, so that let me win. Otherwise, he left 10 feet on the table.
So that'll wrap it up here on hook number 6 of 14 for the season. Maximus Prime came in here with a 10-point lead, but the Maximus Prime 2 truck closed it up just a little bit tonight. With a lot of pulling yet to go here before the season is done.
Never miss a pull. Go to propulling.com/set reminder to add all of the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League airings to your personal calendar. Receive a calendar reminder minutes before each event airs.
We always enjoy coming out here to Hillsboro. Don Slom and the gang do a great job along with the rest of the staff here with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. We hope you enjoyed all the great action from the incredibly tough Super Farm tractor category and, of course, our hot rod semis. For Leslie Mears, I'm Ken Stout. Thanks for watching.